Hey, Ladybird. Can y'all hear me okay? How's the audio? Just a girl, Lisa. A98 Wheeler. Audio's good? Okay. Working? Yeah, okay. Gosh, sorry about that. Technical difficulty. Bummer. This isn't my best mic. I have my other mic, but the cord to it was in my backpack, and so the cops have it. So I'm gonna get a new mic. All right. So I don't know if somebody can tell me the last part of the story that they heard. What up? Was the last part? Um, okay. All right. So I said enough about her. So yeah, she was cool, and I'll do that. So then I went back to the. I went to the regular cell. You want to make sure there's no crazy people in there. You're safe. I did. I saw James 2 cells away. There's chain link fence, thicker wire, smaller squares. We're talking back and forth, laughing, preparing, coordinating. We're talking about how we got there. People are asking questions. They're all about it. We're talking to them. Things are good. It sucks overall. There's just concrete everywhere. But hey, what are you going to do? The toilets they have, yeah, it has a wall, but there's small holes in the wall. And there's women walking everywhere, guards and prisoners. And they don't even give you toilet paper. You have to get a guard to get toilet paper, and they'll just roll you off some off a real roll and give it to you. And if it's not enough, oh well, I don't know what they want you to do. But anyway, I don't eat when I go to jail, so that wasn't a problem for me. um, when I first got back to the cell, I happened to be standing near the door because I'm just sitting there. I must have just observed for an hour. I was just soaking this place in, every detail. I was people watching like crazy, like I've never before. Just noticing and just exploring, just checking out my environment. And over comes Goldman. She undoes the door, and I'm standing right there. We're about 2 feet away, if that. She hands me my socks. She holds them out, and she goes, "So, we good?" As if no harm, no foul. I'm doing you a favor by bringing you your socks so you don't have to walk in your bare feet. Are we good? And I couldn't believe it. Hey, Tucson Police, Tuck, what up, man? How you doing, dude? I could not believe it. Oh, gosh, Ladybird, how are you? Oh no, that's probably a fake Ladybird. There are fake names up in here looking to get modded so they can start hiding everybody. Um, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. Hey, Bullet SpongeBob. So I told her, no, we're not good. You totally sexually molested me. We're not good. I'm totally filing a lawsuit over all of this nonsense, and I'm going to include you personally in it. Just want you to know. And no, we are definitely not good. She just closed the door on me and walked away. So I threw my socks on, and what's up, everybody? Threw my socks on, still talking to James. And that goes on for, several hours, like 4 hours or whatever. It goes by. We're trying to get rest, can't. Um, Seems like I can't go to sleep in a place like that. I sat down with my legs in front of me, put my arms around my knees, and put my head on my arms, and might have fell asleep for like 10 minutes and woke up with drool spilling onto my shirt. And I'm sure I was only out like 5-10 minutes. I mean, it just didn't feel like any more than that. And that was the only sleep I got in there. My body just would not go to sleep. It didn't feel safe enough to go to sleep. I saw all the unconscious people around me, and I knew what I could do to them or what could happen to them. And I was like, I am not going to be unconscious here. So my body just wouldn't let me get tired, and I couldn't get comfortable anyway on concrete. So hours go by. Bao and James go to their matriarch thing, whatever, matriarch, magistrate thing. They come back, say they got bond. I'm confident. I never, I'm confident my charge is going to be dismissed. We heard that two others had theirs dismissed. I go in for my hearing. James was asleep at the time, so he didn't know I had left. I do my deal. For someone like me who does what I do to judges, having to sit there and be handcuffed to a stranger, standing on a line, facing a guy in a polo shirt and jeans, calling himself a magistrate on an elevated platform. It was the trashiest little mini pretend courtroom ever. Half of it was cardboard boxes filled with documents stacked almost to the ceiling, probably about 4 by 6 feet in area, maybe bigger. It was file cabinets. It was weird. And there's tape on the ground, and you just walk this circle and leave, and it was just a joke. So he goes, "Oh, it's your turn, Pierce, whatever. I'm going to dismiss these charges based on lack of probable cause." Da, da, da. And I raise my hand, right? I'm not going to just say something, and then he goes, "Oh, I'm keeping you in here for 72 hours because I can," right? Raise my hand. He's like, "Yeah." I go, "Did you watch the video?" And he goes, "No." I raise my hand again, and he waves it away like a king waving away a bad meal, right? Or him after you get done eating, like, remove my dishes, you know? And so I'm just like, it's hilarious. Hilarious. He's doing this at, 4 in the morning. This is his job over and over and over and over and over and over again, taking advantage of people in cuffs, chained to each other. No choice, no voluntary anything. All he does is tell you what your charges are and what your bond is, and that is it. There's no plea or anything beyond that. So it's turn to your right and get the hell out. And we go back to our cells. I'm happy because the charges are confirmed dismissed. I'm not going to have to come back here. I'm not going to have charges and deal with that, right? I can still go do cop watching without having to worry about a warrant or any record on like anything like that. So, hi everybody. I'm trying to watch the comments as well. I go back. James is just kind of waking up, I think, or he was still asleep. Anyway, I told him when he woke up. That was dope. And we just get to kind of doing our normal talking thing and everything. Man, this is one of the coolest things about going down there was James and I have a lot in common. I don't really share on here because that'll be his place too if he wants to. But James and I have a lot in common, like from growing up and stuff, and that we didn't even know about. And so it was dope. Like James, I can see why he's got a channel. I can see why he's got such a little following. Because, as everyone knows, out of all this group, dude is one of the few that has a rock solid good head on his shoulders, Like he's smart. He's just the type of personality you want, the type of man you want, the type of auditor you want, the type of leader you want. I mean, he's just, he's got the beard and the sense of humor. He's no drama. He never caused anybody no drama. He's fully grown, mature man in every sense of the word. He's just a stud. And so it was really cool getting to talk to him a lot over the whole trip. And being in jail with him. There's just like a brotherhood thing there, man. It was awesome. There just is. When you go through something like that, oh, hey, Sheep, what's up, man? Good to see you. There's just kind of a shared experience, like a brotherhood you got when you go through something like that. And it's dope. I mean, it's just something you have forever. So it's the patient game, the waiting game. He's trying to get sleep and succeeding at times, and I'm just going, gosh, that must be nice, because if you can go to sleep and wake up 2 hours later, that's 2 hours later less in the jail. 2 hours less of time in the jail is a gift, and I don't know, I just couldn't do it. But I could make sure that nobody was messing with him, and nobody would. Like, it wasn't that kind of place, so it was all right. Some drunk 23-year-old came in and kept banging on the door till somebody threatened to whip his butt. Tried to get the guard to move him over to my cage so he could. That was kind of funny. He passed out sitting up. Wake up, bang on the door, talk crap. Door opens, crap talking stops. Door closes, crap talking starts again. Bang, bang, bang. Keeping people awake. It was all kinds of fun. Meanwhile, of course, that kid is still moaning and screaming and misery, called out for his mommy on two separate occasions for 3, 4 hours in the background while this is going on. This dull groaning. It's just like out of a nightmare. Anyway, hold on one second. Hold on one second, bro. Give me 1 second, bro. I don't have a button to mute. Sorry. Oh, rock on. Okay, cool, dude. I'll get you. Thanks, man. All right. So, gosh. So we both get done with the magistrate. Now I'm told it's 30 to 45 minutes and I'll be out of there. Turns out it was 4 hours. I'm trying to get confirmation on, how long James about, what's happened to other people, our other friend in there. And we're just trying to pass the time. Of course, this crazy thing about jail is that there's no clocks, there's no windows, so you have no idea if it's light or dark. And your whole physiological system gets screwed up by that. It's like, wait a minute, the circadian rhythm here says I'm supposed to have daylight at certain times, and they know it messes with you, and it does. Gosh. So, I can't remember who got pulled first. I'm pretty positive James and Bauer are always ahead of me. So they got pulled first and removed from jail cells and started to be processed for release. So I thought for sure they would be released ahead of me, which I was down for because, I had my charges dismissed. And it was another hour and a half, and then they, had me released too. And when I got out, it was like 9:30, and thank God there were a couple of people there. Wolfman was there. And sorry, I forget the other gentleman. I'm really sorry about that. And it was just kind of surreal. I hadn't eaten anything since previous lunch, and I hadn't slept other than that 5 minutes. And so, I knew I wanted to say something on their live stream to show the chief that, I knew I was going to have this story fleshed out at some point and that he'd probably listen to it and then hear this. He might even be watching me live, and I wanted him to see that this 16 hours barely affected me, because it really relatively barely did, and that it was going to take a lot more, and it only backfires on him. It only makes me stronger and more determined. It does not coerce me into silence and to stop messing with them. And it's important that you get that out. So I did, and tried to tell the story a little bit. Yeah, I was tired. I could feel my brain moving at like 80 to 90% of what it normally does. That was awesome. And then you just slowly kind of recuperate. And so now, of course, the question is, somebody brought pizza. Like, Papa John showed up, and this awesome, amazing delivery teenager. He was just the friendliest dude I've ever had. Was like, here you go. You don't owe us anything. Here you go. Here's your soda. Here's your pizza. So for the first time I got to eat in a while, and that was cool, and hanging out with people. And of course, they were happy to see me and everything. And it's always good to feel that support. Uh-oh, are we lagging? Let me know if the stream starts to suck. HBO Matt bought the pizza. Yeah, thanks to HBO Matt. I remember the name on it was like Matt something. Or Matthew. I'm good on the stream. Okay. So it was just cool. It's just, gosh. All Hawaii, you got to understand, most of life was online as far as interaction with people like me. But especially once I got to the court game, like the last 3 years, sorry. The last 3 years, my best friends were online and I'd never met them. That's a long time. And yeah, I had people in Hawaii who knew what I did and admired it, and like we talked about it, and that was cool, but they were very, very different from me. They just, oh shit. They just were. And so to actually come into contact now here on the mainland with human beings of the flesh and blood, and you can see them and shake their hand and give them a hug and feel their, their support of you and their, gosh, they're just affection, human affection, whatever. It was just something else. I just hadn't really experienced, and so that was pretty nice. Um, of course, I'm still tired, and I'm like, all right, when are these two getting out? And we're talking to the guard and trying to figure out when, making sure everything's okay. Their bond's been paid as early as possible, and it's a weekend, so how busy are they going to be? And talking to some people in the lobby and going back and forth outside and all this. And gosh, I'm not going to say it was grueling because it wasn't, but it was just, it was like trying to stay awake when you're super damn tired. And yet at the same time worried, like, I know how awful that place is. I know. It was so ripe in me, and I wanted them out of there. I mean, I want everybody out of there. That place is inhumane. It's a crime against humanity. There's nothing about rehabilitation there. It's all punishment, obviously. And it's just a miserable place of suffering. And if you have any kind of empathy buttons, you just got to turn them off because it's just that bad. So, I was really tempted. I'm kind of proud I stuck it out because two or three occasions I was so tempted to ask somebody like, hey, could you take me to, I'm going to get a room or, go back to the trailer or whatever and crash. I can't, I just don't want to do this anymore. I've just been through a lot and trying to stay awake for this sucks. But then I wanted to be there when they got out, obviously. I didn't want to be like the only one that wasn't, like I couldn't hang. So, I just stuck it out. It wasn't that big of a deal. It wasn't like painful or anything. So they came out about 6 hours later at 3 p.m. something. And of course that was awesome. And all that's on video. You can kind of see all that. And then we got everything done with the bond place, and they make a good chunk of money that we'll never get back. And thank you, supporters, for making the thing out of our budget non-existent because donations took care of it for them. And let's see, we left the bond place, and then everybody else wanted to go to dinner. I mean, I guess James and Bao got some sleep in there, but I didn't, and I just would not be any good for dinner. I was too tired to laugh. Like, people would say stuff that's funny, and I would just barely, crack a smile. My eyes are half closed, and I'm trying to keep them open and whatever, and I just knew I was done. So, I just went back to the trailer and this part is kind of like not something I really want to talk about, but I think it's kind of advantageous too, so I will. So I get back to the trailer, and of course I'm very tired. Screw that, I take a shower. I'm getting this jail scum off of me. Everything about that place I am scrubbing off of my body right now. So I did, man. I scrubbed every square inch of myself and washed my hair and everything, obviously, and just did it. And, made the place all comfortable and everything. Go to lay down. And I hate to admit this, like, it bothers me it bothers me that this happened, and it bothers me that I am going to admit this on my live stream, but I couldn't go to sleep. And it's rare that I don't have full control of my thoughts, like my involuntary thinking. That's rare. But I didn't have control over my involuntary thinking because I realized I'd experienced something that I'd never experienced before in my life and never thought I would. And that was somebody able to try to embarrass or humiliate me sexually with their hands, and I couldn't do anything about it. Like, I never thought that would ever happen to me. And it sucked that for the rest of my life, I'm going to have this memory and know that that did happen. And it bothered me. I hate to admit this, Goldman, you bitch, but you did something that bothered me. And it kept me up. And it kept me up for 2 hours. And I only had 3 hours to sleep before they came back from dinner. So I just couldn't get it out of my head. I'm not going to lie, the thoughts weren't pleasant. And I was feeding them. And that's all I'm going to say about it. Whoa. Oh, never mind. Sorry. I read something in the chat that was a little backwards. My mods are on top of it. So, I was trying to get objective and get perspective and get that under control. And it see, to me, it's like, I don't know about anybody else, but as a human, as a male, I feel like within me, maybe within many people, are seeds, if you will, of any personality trait or emotion, like seeds of anger, seeds of jealousy, seeds of generosity, seeds of gratitude, seeds of bitterness, resentment, revenge, seeds of love. And something happens to you, and any one of these seeds can start to sprout and take root. And if you water that sucker, it'll grow, whether it's quote unquote good or quote unquote bad. And I could feel a bad seed growing. And I know that because it's a very familiar feeling, because I have previously felt and watered bad seeds within me grow. And it wasn't pleasant at one part, but it was intensely pleasurable in another. This is weird to talk about. And so, I it's just so tempting. And because I know what I could do about it. I know what I could do about it. I know what I very much want to do about it. It's just trying to consider the reality of doing such things and what that would really be like. And, I know I could do stuff and get away with it. And I just, you think, how would that change you? And would that be a good change? Because it might. It just might. And so, I ended up doing something that I would do in Hawaii almost every day. And that was just get out into a wild place and just watch wild stuff and consider all the simple things in life. And then kind of zoom out and be like, oh yeah, dude, you know a lot about how you're just this piece of dust on a spinning blue and green globe in this vast nothingness of the universe, and how what you're feeling and what you just went through is virtually nothing in that regard, and also nothing compared to what human beings are suffering right now here today in far more brutal prisons all across the world, and how, relatively speaking, you have nothing to deal with, even as unpleasant as that was. And that really helped. Um, Even though I was kind of next to some kind of military base where I was sitting outside, and over the loudspeaker came taps, and that reminded me of when I was in the military, because if you live on a military base or work on one, at a certain time when the sun goes down, this drum roll starts, and the whole base can hear it through the loudspeakers, and you got to stop doing what you're doing and stand and face the music. And then there's a damn national anthem plays. If you're in uniform, you have to salute. If you're not, you hold your hand over your heart for the whole damn song. And that happens every morning and every evening on military bases, and I hadn't heard it in over 10 years. So out of nowhere comes this blaring music, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's cool memories. But then in front of me was this, man, it's just a, what up, man? Yeah, man. Yeah, yeah. Well, not. I'm go. Oh, man, I don't know if I could put this on mute, dude. For my cell phone. Yeah, yeah. I'm going to James Court. Yeah, that would be good hits for it. Is what I'm saying. I do. Cool. Sweet. That's dope. I'm glad this is getting taken care of because right after I get done with James's thing, I'm going to get the phone, so I'll be coming back with it. But yeah, if you just want it, dope, dope, dope. You're the best. Thanks for thinking. I'm gonna come talk to you about it. Cool. Thanks, man. Sweet, dude. Sweet, dude. I will. That's Gunner, man. Gunner pulls through. Um. All right. So this is gonna sound cheesy, but this is the hippie in me. Sorry, you're just gonna have to suffer through it or whatever. So there's this. I'm sitting, and I'm just there's a big ass tree in front of me, and there's the wind is blowing, and there's some late sun, and the shadows and the wind and the sound and just there's just something about it that it just works for me. And there's this little weed in front of me, and this weed was probably I don't know like a couple weeks old. It'd probably be dead in a few more or whatever, and or chopped down by a mower or whatever. And it was just blowing in the wind, and all its leaves were facing the sun. It was just doing its weed thing. And to it, it's just that life is so simple, and it's stuck to this place, and it's just doing what it does, and it's this beautiful natural process. And if you know a lot about like how plants function and the vast complexities of the cycles that go on within them, you're just like, God damn, this is magic in here. And it just doesn't meet the eye, but there it is there. And yeah, just one single weed among the many. I don't know. I was just trying to get perspective, because that negative shit, it wants you zoomed in. And when you zoom out, you just, I don't know, it's good. So I did that for a while, like 20 minutes, whatever, and that helped. That helped. And I really got on top of it. I was like, yeah, I don't want Goldman to get to me. And I don't want her to change me in a way I don't want to be changed. I don't want her to have any drop of more power over me than she's already had. And I want to get my revenge by truly turning this into one big joke. Like, yeah, you saw my cock and balls, big deal, bitch. Like, like so what? Is that the best you got? I mean, you're a twisted human being. I'm in the cage, but you're in the cage that truly matters. I'm the free bird flying in the sky, and I feel bad for you because you're the one in the cage. And the worst part is you don't even know it. That I know you're a miserable human being. For you to treat people that way and process them through like cattle through a slaughterhouse. When I complained about oh gosh, I totally ghosted past the complaint I filed against her. I asked for a guard I wanted to file a report for sexual assault that happened here in the jail. That one ignored me. 45 minutes later, I knocked for another one. A girl who's probably 22, Rico, R-I-C-O, answered and told me that that wasn't sexual assault, that that's normal. And when I asked her if she pulls out the pants and underwear of every male that comes through her processing and does it look at their junk, she said yes. She does that to every male. That's what she said. Now that's a lie because James and Bao told me that they were right behind me and they were next and they got processed by her, and Goldman didn't do any of that, pulling out the pants and looking at their junk to them. They didn't do that. She didn't do that to them. So Rico's totally lying, or she's just a legalized sex offender. But either way, women can only be searched by women, but a man can be searched by a woman. And if she's committing a crime and he suggests a man do it instead, they don't have to let him. The woman can keep doing it. Now, for that to exist is just absolutely insane. P-51 Mustang tells a great joke. He says, I want to go to jail now. That's hilarious. Well done, sir. I like that comment. So, yeah, and then Rico bounced. The sergeant, who was super kind to me before, pulled me out of the cell, talked to me right there until I had everything I had to say came out, which was about 3 minutes. She listened intently. She agreed with me. She sincerely cared. This was a human being. She said that shouldn't have happened, that she got promoted for a reason, that Goldman had issues like that, and that she would get a detective from the San Antonio police to come over and take my report. Right? And I'm like, oh, how did I get such the evilest person I've come across in the jail first, and then the nicest person I've ever seen in a jail ever in my entire life second? It was weird extremes of the spectrum. So, that happened after James was gone. Pierce, and I'm like, yes, I'm almost out of here. But it wasn't. It was just for the detective. So I go talk to the detective away from everyone else at a cubicle type row of stuff. And he seemed to be a sincere dude. Now, I don't know if he was playing sincere because that's what they're trained to do, and he was just a really good actor, or if he was really sincere. Anyway, I gave up my full report. I did it with my most professional, articulate self, and it seemed to convince him pretty well. I'm going to call tomorrow after I get court and the phone to see what happened about what he filed. But he told me he was going to file it and that I should call on Monday and get the results. But I straight up told him at the end, just direct eye contact, that I'm not doing this because I have faith in the police. You probably know why I'm here. Or that I want you to solve my problem for me. I'm doing this because I'm launching a massive lawsuit over all of this, and I'm going to name her personally. And I'm going to deal with this woman one way or another. Now, I'm telling the police to give you the opportunity to do something about it. Because if you don't, I will. I'm not going to let somebody do that to me in this life and get away with it. That's not going to happen. And I just laid it out, and he listened. And he agreed it was totally unfair about the double standard, that men can be searched and women can't, and all this, and that I asked for one and they wouldn't, that she totally assaulted me in front of my friends, and that I had witnesses, that the cameras were right there, he could check the footage. He agreed he would pull the footage and look at it. He would investigate. And I'm really hoping that some kind of charge gets filed against her, or that some kind of reprimand, some kind of something, so that she's not allowed to do that anymore. But we'll see what happens. The cops will probably not do a thing, and I'll probably have to take it out on her in the civilian lawsuit, whatever. But I forgot to tell that part of the story. That's what happened. So I kind of cleared my head after hanging out outside, and I went back inside, and I felt a little better. But when I say a little better, I still felt poisoned, like by myself, not really by her. Just it was just a feeling I'd never felt before, and it was extremely uncomfortable, and on one hand disempowering, but on the other hand I knew that was bullshit, because she wasn't nothing. Like, this Goldman isn't nothing. She's double negative, and she's just that much nothing. I pity her. I really do. I mean, her life must be horrible. It just can't be good. She just has to be miserable. The way she looks, the way she treats her own body, the way she treats other people, the callousness. There's no humanity in there. There's no soul. There's no like empathy, compassion. These are attributes that she's completely devoid of. And believe me, I watched her. Right? I looked out my window the vast majority of the time I was in there. The vast majority. I stood the vast majority. So, for what that's worth, I got inside. I relaxed. I lay down, and maybe 20 minutes later, I was asleep. And I woke up like an hour later, and time to do more stuff and drive home. And drove home. Drive home was fun. It was awesome. Um, That's kind of pretty much the most of the jail story. I mean, the rest of it is just kind of like how I think and more specifics of what I was thinking. It's just not necessary and doesn't really add many facts to the story. Um, what I've gotten out of it now that there's a day of distance between it and now is I was thinking about possible options and how to handle it. And at one point, I thought maybe it's best to. I was having a hippie moment, and I thought maybe it was best to call get a hold of her sergeant, and get a message to her or talk to her on the phone and say, look, first I would get the results of the charge, all right, to see if that would help me with the police. But basically, I would say, look, I'm willing to let that incident go if I'm able to speak with Goldman on the phone, and she has to listen to me. She will listen to me. There will be no hanging up. There will be no ordering me around. There will be no attitude. And I will bring a professional one myself. And we will talk, and I will explain to her how I perceived that interaction from my side of the fence to try to forcefully inject some humanity in a way she's never probably received it before based on her actions there, just to see what would happen. And whether or not she agreed with me or whether or not she felt anything different, and I'm sure she wouldn't, I'm sure she would just be like, F that guy. As soon as she got off the phone and go right back to her job while laughing about it or something. I thought that might be something worth pursuing, but I've since dismissed it. I just think that's unrealistic, and besides, they might just say, hey, look, we understand there might be a lawsuit involved, and we kind of have to remain quiet for policy's sake or whatever, right? So, I, it just feels a lot better when I just make it all a joke. And I just think it's horrible that society has this double standard where this can happen to a guy. And because they have coping skills and a sense of humor, they're not crying about it, that the perpetrator is off the hook. I just, if it wasn't that way, if there was an equal standard, what she did would never happen to people because it wouldn't be allowed. They'd be fired immediately. And it would be a better place. You do not need to dominate someone like that who's coming in relaxed and not fearful of you and obeying you immediately. For a first impression of that jail, they're going to get a bad enough impression of that jail without you. Trust me. They don't need that. So I've just dismissed that idea, though. I'm just going to hardcore press her in the lawsuit. I'm going to be talking to lawyers tomorrow. Hopefully more. I've got a lot of phone calls to make once I get my phone. And I'm going to hardcore press her in every which way that's possible. Because if I don't get some kind of change and punishment for what she did, I'm not going to finish the end of that sentence. But I'm not going to let it go. I just don't think I could. And part of being me is part of having that capability and ability. And I like that about me. And I don't need that to go away forever. Like, I like being able to draw upon that. I just like that about me. So anyway, we'll see what happens. But she was definitely the most disturbing part of all that. And I just telling this story for not only memory's sake and, you know, to get the facts out in the future as reference, but to let anyone who hears this know that, you know, it's so easy for us to dismiss what goes on that we don't see as not happening. But this type of thing is happening every second of every day in this country and elsewhere. But specifically when speaking in reference to this country, It's just we'd bring cameras into cop shops. Cameras need to go into prisons on the guards, and that will never happen. That's the last place they'd ever allow a camera. You'd have as much luck as putting a public live streaming camera in a Supreme Court justice's toilet. Like, it's not going to happen. Because if it did, they know the taxpayers would revolt. They'd be like, you are creating monsters that could come out and commit crimes against me, violent ones. You're making society worse. You're treating people like animals. And you know what? The guards pay just as big of a price. It's just a different price. This is a lose-lose all the way around. I mean, the public would go insane. And yet, that's quote-unquote normal and has been. And I've been pretty naive, because I haven't been exposed to it. And I still haven't been exposed to, like, federal penitentiary type stuff. I mean, jail gets easier, I hear, once you're in general population. It's not nearly as bad as this in-processing center I was at. But just the fact that that center was that bad, like, no human should have to go through that. Just the points you get for putting up with life and surviving to whatever age you are, you deserve more dignity, even when you're a prisoner of a corrupt system, than what they're doing there. You will see men and women of all ages and body sizes numb out to the suffering around them and just laugh and joke, make jokes and ignore people. It's like some people love being bitches, rude, just cruel. They love it. And these people get paid to do it. They're like, yeah, I'm down. And the whole time I've spent in front of that jail, I've seen guards come on shift and get off shift. And then get off shift. It's like, oh, yeah, hey, Jack, yeah, have a nice day. See you tomorrow. High five. And then they get in their car and they go home. And their family has no idea, or maybe they do, just how schizophrenic their relative is. What cruelty they're capable of, how distant and scarred their psyche is. I mean, it's to say it's dehumanizing is a compliment. The dogs at the pound get treated way better than these people. It just, I don't know. I mean, a lot of them were in there for domestic violence, assault. You unprovoked put your hands on somebody like that. I ain't got a problem with you being in there. I don't. Like, you should get a real solid view of where your life is going by treating people like that. It's not like people are coming in and jumping us. It's not like I came back with a sickness and I'm coughing. It's not like I was physically threatened, But I wouldn't mind for people who actually commit hard crimes with victims, violent ones. But they just mix them in with everyone else who just has nonviolent victimless charges and call it good. So it was real eye-opening. And I don't think it's a unique story. I'm sure a lot of you have similar stories or heard worse stories or know more about this than I do. I just thought I'd share with a little window into how that went down. But I really can honestly say that overall, it feels like I don't experience any negativity from it. Well, not much, I should say. I experience very little negativity from it as of right now, and all today. Like, I'm just so over it. It's not like it stuck with me much at all. So the goal of trying to coerce me into obedience by sending me off to jail for up to 24 hours doesn't work. And that's no bluff. I mean, it only, when you do that to someone like me, it only solidifies my resolve harder. And I want to go back there and wave more signs. Bad. Right? Like, bad. Like, right in your face, bad. Like, I dare you. Okay, go ahead and arrest me again when I'm out in the median in front of all the cars. Go for it. You know, they threw out the charge last time. You threatened me with three charges. Then I heard there were two before I left your cop shop. Then the magistrate only mentioned one, right? So, and that got dismissed. So they don't have anything. One last thing to mention that I forgot was that there was a male guard. The last hour I was in there, of course, I didn't know I was only going to be in an hour. There was a male guard, and he was friends with Goldman, and they must have passed around the information that I stared at her and hate her and threatened her with a lawsuit, and that I filed a police report with San Antonio for sexual assault against her. That spread. So this guard opens the door to get somebody else, and I just happen to be 3 feet from the door because again I'm people watching. And unprovoked, he says to me, "You have an additional charge filed against you." And I said, "What?" And he said, "Yeah." I said, "What for?" He said, "The district attorney just filed it. It's for filing a false police report." And he left. So he lied completely, intentionally, knowing there was no extra police report, just to cause me stress because I had, done what I did to Goldman. And I was only worried for about 10 seconds before common sense hit me. And I was like, that has to be a complete lie because he's angry about what I did to Goldman. Because there's no way I'm important enough for the DA to be up at 3 but F in the morning to be like, "Oh, Pierce screwed up a little bit. Oh, he filed something about a sexual assault. Let's say it was a lie and charge him with that. Less than an hour after he gave the report to the detective." Yeah. So I knew that was BS, and it didn't worry me at all. I was so confident it was a lie, it didn't even bother me. And then, and the shift changed. A new sergeant came out. He was this big black guy with a skull so thick, I doubt anyone could knock him out. He was a awesome looking dude, and his name was Willis. And I said, he opened the door for someone else. When he was done talking, I said, "Hey, can I ask you one question?" He said, "Yeah, go ahead." I said, "It'll take 20 seconds. This is it." I said, "I was told by that guard over there that I had an additional charge. I don't think I do. I just want to know can you confirm for me? Because I think I'm getting out of here soon, or if I'm not, fine. I just want to know. I'm just seeking clarification of that." I was being professional and shit. He's like, "Yeah, sure, no problem." He checks back with me a long half hour later, 20 minutes. I'm still trying to get to the bottom of it. I'll have a confirmation for you soon. I'm like, "Cool, thanks for your efforts." He comes back 20 minutes later, and that's when did he tell me I was, yeah, I think that's when he either got me out right then, or he said, "Yeah, you're clearing in the clear. You're going to be heading out of here right quick here. They're going to be back soon to get you." I was so tired, I don't remember which one it was. But he let me know that that was BS and that I didn't have an extra charge. So I just filed out of there and got out of there quick. So they gave me back my property, everything except my wallet. The wallet should have come back with my property, but of course, because it had my driver's license and my debit card in it, and the cop shop Leon Valley had already had that once before and probably knew what an inconvenience it had cost me, they oopsie accidentally kept it again, knowing I wouldn't get it, and probably just, "Oh, I've been a mistake, and we kept your phone, so we kept your wallet too, oopsie," knowing they had criminally trespassed me from there and it would be really hard for me to get it back. So that was awesome of them. I found that out and then left. So really, truly, that is the totality of my jail experience, more or less. Um, Gosh, I guess it ended up being an hour and 45 instead of an hour, but there it is. I really don't have anything else to add to it. I really think I got on all the little incidences I wanted to mention. There were a couple others, but just had to do with inmates and my own thinking and stuff. But yeah, I just woke up, came home, crashed, woke up four after 4.5 maybe hours of sleep. I went to Bow's Herring this morning, and I've just been awake since then. So now it's like 1 o'clock, and I'm gonna go to bed and get up at let's see, I gotta be there at 7:30, so I gotta leave here at 7, no later than 7. So I'll be up at like, oh crap, I gotta take a shower. So I'll probably be up at like 6:15. So I'll be up in like, I don't know, 5 hours, which doesn't sound like much, but honestly, I'm weird. I only need 6 hours of sleep a night. Rarely do I sleep longer than that, and I just don't need an alarm clock, so it's cool. And 5 hours of sleep does me pretty damn well, so um, I'll probably stay up another 15 minutes just because I want to just pay attention to the comments for anything anyone has to say or questions or whatever. I've seen all the appreciation and all that, all the care, and so thanks for that. I just kind of want to be responsive because, I've been doing nothing but a lot of talking, and you've been doing nothing but a lot of listening, and that's kind of a selfless thing to do. And so, yeah, I'll just kind of shush with the story and respond to the comments. Have you ever seen the public servant questionnaire? I haven't. No. That was in jail on a separate charge, not related to Leon Valley. Yeah, up in Fort Worth. I don't know who Justin Pulliam is, but I've seen that name before, big time. I just can't connect it yet because I've met so many new people. You need mods at Ethics. I do have them, but they're asleep because it's like super late. I saw the mods doing some awesome work tonight during this, so that's always nice. I mean, they always do that for me. Yeah, thanks, Quentin. Bill Norwood, obviously, always supportive. I'm working on getting my stuff through a local. We've got to get over powers of attorney. I don't really know if I want to claim it though because, they could have planted something in it and have some devious plan up their sleeves. It's just not worth it. I don't know if I will or not. But if I do, it won't be anytime soon, really. Maybe in a couple days. I don't know. Oh, crap. I lost my stream on my desktop for a second. Sorry. Oh, I don't want to miss this stuff. This is funny. Hawk chat was fast. I might have gotten timeout happy. Forgive me. Yeah, A-Sleep. We usually, in my chat, I like to keep cops out. They collect intel, and I don't care if it's censorship. So I'm usually happy to have my mods just time out or remove someone who's just sounding like a cop. Or I don't mind people that challenge what I say or even criticize it. But if you're just going to use ad hominem attacks, insults, instead of evidence that you draw your conclusion from, I'm just not interested because that's called trolling. So thanks, mods. I'm really happy to have a sheep on here for a bond. I mean, I remember when I first met that guy, we just walk in like, hey, how you doing? Da, 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 da. Yeah, we need some water. And next thing you know, like he's got this YouTube video out, and I just remember all the conversations we've had and just how awesome they were to have a guy like that there. I just didn't see that coming. And it was just so helpful to the cause, man. It's just a real place of refuge and shade and air conditioning and delicious water. like I come from Hawaii, and I don't come from Hawaii, but I've drank rainwater. Like I know what good water tastes like, and what it doesn't taste like, and what it feels like going down. And it's dope. It's good stuff, and you can't put a price on your health. And gosh, that's worth every penny. Talk about being in a business that's productive and worthwhile. Like making clean water in a land of oil pipelines, leaky oil pipelines that just kind of get into the groundwater. Man, that's a good business to be in. So, just paying attention to the chat for a bit. If you want to be a mod, you gotta ask Rika. You gotta get in good with Rika. Noble SHT is kind of a negative Nancy, but he doesn't really cross the line, so I let him stick around. Can you get a power of attorney and get anyone to get your stuff? Yes, I can. 513 Ohio. I just haven't had the time to do it or the coordination with someone down there. As soon as someone successfully gets it out, Bao or I will drive down there and pick it up. So I've seen some people telling me they're kind of like newly subscribing. Thanks. Royal Stein, Rika's asleep, I'm sure, and I hope. It's late. Possible Kim says the cops are here. Please help. Send help. What's that about? What is happening tomorrow? Lisa asks James Freeman's hearing, and we got cool new stuff going into action, and I can't talk about it, so you'll learn about it tomorrow. Good night to those who are going to sleep. Joe Black says, hey, ethics never give up the fight. Yeah, that sounds great and glorious, but people need breaks, and sometimes a good couple weeks just staying away from all things police, I think is a healthy thing to do. You don't want to get bogged down in this day after day, week after week, month after month, and let it become such a big part of your life. You got to decompress and get away from it for a while. Will I audit with Padilla? I will not. I love Padilla, but I can't audit with him. And I hope he wouldn't take that negatively. I just can't, given my circumstances. I have goals, and I want to build something, and risking jail is not in the cards. Oh, gosh. That reminds me. There's one thing I want to mention now, and I'm going to make a whole other video about it tomorrow. But the real brief version is I'm going to make a video about my, advice, really, based on experience. Man, I need a drink of water. Too dry, lots of talking. About what I think would be effective going forward if anyone were to go to the cop shop to Leon Valley there, or even back to Leon Valley to do the signs and everything. Like, I think A. Sheep's, what he's doing around the cop shop is pretty untouchable. Like, I can't see them messing with him. And I just, man, for so many reasons, what he's doing is a good idea. But as far as quote-unquote auditors or others wanting to do something to Leon Valley, I really don't think we have anything more to gain by messing with the police station itself. We've already exposed what there is to expose. I mean, as long as they're still, we think one person did a crime, so arrest everybody and steal from everybody, as long as that's still in effect, and it won't be in effect for long, it's just not worth it. I mean, we're not gaining what we're losing. We've made the point. The point needed to be made, and I don't regret any of that. I don't regret going to jail. I know the risk. Like, that's just what you do. And God knows James does. But if it were me, I'm comfortable on the sidewalk next to the street and in the median of the street. Now, maybe a block up one way or the other might be smart, just so you're way far away from the cops. But really, I wouldn't do it on the sidewalk adjacent to the parking lot, the police parking lot. Just move over to the business side, that strip mall where Joe's water store is, and do it from that sidewalk, or find another tree or something. Like, that tree can be good shade. Like, we have history with that tree, but I wouldn't in any way mess with the police property other than that. And just stick to the median and doing the signs thing. That sign thing drives them nuts probably more than anything else we ever did. The fact that the public are seeing that. So if people are going to do that in the future, and I will be one of them at some point, I would just recommend that. I don't see any value or courage, any of those things in doing the lobby, filming through the windows anymore. We've got all the ammunition we need from that. They've already screwed up beyond the point we need them to. So that's my take on it. And I'll put another, like I said, independent video with that tomorrow, just for what that's worth. Um, I'm just reading the comments. Oh, here's another thing. Check this out, right? Check this out. So, just as an example of some of the crazy generosity out there. Oh, you know what? I need to plug this in. Just as an example of some of the crazy generosity out there. Somebody emailed me and they're actually like, "Hey, um, I guess I've been talking to him a little bit back and forth. I've kind of gotten to know him a little bit, and they're like, "Hey, this Leon Valley stuff all of a sudden happened," and they're like, "Hey, man, I really love everything you're doing, and I'm sorry you had to go to jail, and gosh, I just couldn't support you anymore. I'm trying, I'll just do what I can to support you, and let me know if you need anything, and da 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 da." And I'm like, well, these are kind of the goals that I have. This is what I'd like to do. I'm gonna try really hard to see what I can make happen, but I've always got a backup. And this is just kind of what's up. And they go, well, I got in touch with this other guy that that I know you've been talking to, and he said he has a car that runs great, that is in good shape, that he just doesn't even use anymore. And he was thinking about just letting you have it. And obviously I'm not going to name any names because I still don't know if I'm even going to take him up on this. But I was just kind of in the market. Like when I came here, I landed with a car that, well, it's I don't want to give details about someone else that you all know unless they do. But I've basically been renting a car. Like I had a car in Hawaii. Obviously, I sold it. Saved a bunch of money from working and came over. But then I just rented a car here because it was just too easy. It was too easy. But I'm in the market. I'm in the market. So I just mentioned that I was in the market, and for them to for that to even come across my desk, like, hey, I'm considering just giving you this car, was just kind of nuts. It's just kind of nuts. And at the same point in time, like I get really, I don't know. I guess I get attached to my cars. My cars are like good to me. They're reliable and they get me where I need to go, and I just have good times in them. I have good memories with them, and I just like my cars. And so I was just kind of like, gosh, to have a car that I knew somebody gave me because of what I did in Leon Valley and other ways, that would just be kind of a cool thing on its own right there. And they were just like, but we just have to get it down to you. And I'm like, man, I don't even know if this is going to go down. But if it does, I would just fly up there, especially so I could just, meet everybody in person, say thanks in person, and get everything squared away with paperwork in person and all that. So that would be cool. Good night, everybody who's good nighting. Thanks for hanging out. And yeah, I'm going way late, but the story's over. So yeah, that was just an example of kind of how the community is, and I just get people that are drawn to this community. The vast majority, you get some kind of questionables, but the vast majority of them are just like that. They're just like that. So it's pretty crazy because obviously something like that will advance what I want to do. Like I said, I want to be in Leon Valley right now. Um, I just want to be because I know how to totally do this and not risk jail whatsoever. And gosh, if I could just do whatever I wanted to do, that's kind of what I'd do. So I'm just kind of taking a break for a few days though. after after James's court tomorrow, I'm gonna make sure all that goes uh, safely. Number one, that's for sure. Then yeah, I'll take a break and then be back at it. If by some miracle I get put in jail tomorrow for contempt, no one freak out. Not that you would, but I know the risk. I mean, it's a tiny, tiny, tiny risk. When we go into court, we go into my comfort zone. Like, I know that line, I know what's up. Even with the Fort Worth way they do things with throw people in jail with no warning for 13 days and hold bond. Like, I'm aware. But even if I get thrown in jail, don't anybody freak out. I'm totally fine. It's not going to be like San Antonio. It's totally going to be fine. Um, they'll get me out. It's not a big deal. So I know what I'm just letting everyone know it's not James' fault. He's gonna feel guilty, but that 1% isn't gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. I'm only saying this on that way off chance. So I'm totally good. Why is ethics in the dark? Because man, when you're just I don't know. I'm just still not comfortable talking like making videos where it's me and my face talking to a camera and a screen. I just feel like I'd rather be a private person. I know that sounds crazy based on what I've been doing, but yeah, I just don't really prefer to having these monologues on the screen. I know that's more appealing to the viewers, but sorry, it just is what it is. Um, yeah. So to all you who are catching some Z's or want to, by all means, I'm just chilling here and kind of reading the comments as they float by. Um, I'll probably watch this again to make sure I read all the comments because I hate that I miss some comments. I miss a lot of them, and I don't like that. I wish I could catch them all. I really like to connect, the pattern of what this person says, like the type of things that this person and this person and this person say. Just makes me feel like I get to know people a little bit. Hey, everybody. I see lots of names. I'm not familiar with a lot of them. Jimmy James, Austin, Joe Black. How are you doing, Sarah? 513 Ohio, high voltage. Lisa, Natalie, Scorp, Indy. What can be done for Bal other than donations? Very polite and professional calls to the prosecutor's office, as well as filing complaints online with the State Commission on Judicial Conduct for Texas for Judge Gallagher, which is the one who Bao had to go in front of. He was also the one who got in trouble for having a defendant electrocuted with a shock collar for not saying the words he approved of. That psycho is back on the bench. So, yeah, that happened in Texas right here in Fort Worth. Big shock. Pun intended. Polite, professional messages or talks with the prosecutor's office headed by Shelley or Sherry Wilson. I can't remember her name. And online complaints to Judge Gallagher, Judge Darla Peavy, and Judge Cheryl Hardy. Skype Up, Joe Kaiser. Yeah, we're doing some assistance of counsel stuff for Freeman tomorrow. You'll just have to see how that goes. Royalstein, Texas, Catilla, Mrs. Potato, Justin again, Crystal, Cram, Chris. Ladybird. Oh, that could be fake Ladybird. If I knew that was... Doesn't Ladybird have a wrench in my room? My goodness. Pretty positive she does. All the lawyers that are working for us are pretty much pro bono. I mean, we have so many offers. We could, and they're no slouches. It does not mean they're rookies. They're no slouches at all. They just see what's going on and they're like, ha, I would love to be the lawyer that points all this stuff out. Um, okay, now I'm not saying call flood. I'll pick up a criminal charge for that. I'll be arrested for that while I'm having lunch, maybe. I'm just saying, space it out. You know, you can call and just politely and professionally let them know that you are aware and that you very strongly disapprove, and that you'll be making a complaint with the State Commission on Judicial Conduct and how outrageous this is for the obvious retaliation, and how it's hilarious that they're charging Val with retaliation when that's exactly what the prosecutor's office is actually doing, and Darley Peavy. It's pretty ironic, funny. Michael Lucas, that's a funny comment. Oh, ethics podcast coming summer 2018. So another thing I would do, if I didn't have to work was, you know, I've said this all along. A lot of people have pointed this out to me all along that, hey, look, like your courtroom stuff is gold, but it's scattered all over the place because of the nature of your channel. And I agree, it totally is. It's just scattered, like how to do this part of it, how to do this part of it. This knowledge you need to know why I do this and why it's done that way, and da 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 da. And I wanted to put it all in like I don't know, like a series. I mean, I guess it would be like a lecture series because it would be like a monologue like this, but just one that's in order and easily accessed and viewed. Like I'm originally from Utah, James Barnes, so like it would be really from step one, all the way to step whatever 20 on how to learn to do what I do in courtrooms and to judges and the Socratic method and all that. And the different components of that, like, hey, if you struggle with this, here's a video where I talk about nothing but this. Like, it could be nonverbal communications or controlling your temper or how to object or public speaking, how to get accustomed to a courtroom environment, how to deal with bailiffs and court administration, how to apply the Socratic method, just all these different comments, and put it out in nice little neat chapters so that people could just easily access it. It would make lots of sense, and so maybe one day I'll end up doing that. That'd be pretty dope. How to get arrested without getting hurt, things like this. Yeah, I gotta get to bed soon. Vec, if you want to know what my thoughts on prayer are at the beginning of city council meetings, meaning government, meaning the combination of church and state, you can watch my video on some like speech I gave to the Tarrant County Commissioner's Court, and I go all over that. Ethics, this is Ladybird, kiddo, like the Ladybird. How did Ladybird and Boomer lose their wrenches? Wow, James Barnes, that's a crazy story, I'm sure. Yeah, I totally want to give him a wrench, a sheep. However, we have had many accounts come in here, find out who the trusted regulars are, make up fake accounts with the exact same name, and then pretend to be those people. And they start rumors and say weird things they wouldn't normally say. And I'm pretty sure I have the real Ladybird already wrenched. Rika wants Ladybird wrenched, so I don't know why she would be. That's why I'm kind of like holding off. I don't know if you were here for this earlier, but I accidentally modded an imposter during this very live stream. You can see it later for yourself. And they started hiding everyone. And I think they probably hid like a dozen random people before I was able to unmod them. And then my mods came in and unhid all the people that they hid, and so undid the damage. It was pretty sweet to watch live. That was cool. Oh, you were there for that. Okay. It happened to Wolfman too. Yeah. Yeah, there are active people who come in here to counter what we're doing. And I can't imagine there are people who do it for free. I have to imagine there are people who do it for money. It's kind of weird. Jerry Streeter, I'm not going to answer that. I can't. Yeah, I gotta, man, I'd like to stay, but I gotta get going. So, thank you for listening to my nonsense and my story, and I hope you got something out of it. And I'll be back on tomorrow with a report about James Freeman's nonsense court case accusing him of impersonating another human being online maliciously when it was nothing but satire. No harm, no foul came of it. So yeah, I'll be back about that. Thanks for the love. I wish you uh, sweet dreams and a great day tomorrow. And that, of course, as always, you're safe. Take care. I'm signing out. I'll be on tomorrow. Good night.